Hi friends, today we are going to discuss the basic properties of antigens. As we know, there are two key components in the entire immune system. They are the antigens and as well as the antibodies. Today we are discussing the basic properties of the antigen. Whenever we are considering a particular substance as an antigen, what are the characteristic features should be owned by the particular substance. Before going to that, we will discuss the basic terms like the immunogenicity and the antigenicity. Antigen is a substance which can induce the immune responses. Many times we are usually confusing to discriminate the difference in between immunogen or immunogenicity and the antigenicity. Immunogenicity is the ability of the antigen or the immunogen in order to induce or stimulate the immune system, and it has the ability to interact with the final products of the immune system. So the substance which can induce the immune system, which can interact with the products of the immune system, usually called as antigen, but it should be called as the immunogen. This is the immunogenicity. That is, a particular substance which can stimulate the immune system, which can interact with the products of the immune system, you should be considered as the immunogen, and the activity is called as the immunogenicity. Then what is the antigenicity? Antigenicity is the ability of the antigen to interact with the final products of the immune system. Antigen is a substance which has the ability to interact with the final products of the immune system. What is the difference then in between the immunogen and the antigen? Immunogen can stimulate the immune system and interact with the products of the immune system, but the antigen only interacts with the products of the immune system. It may not stimulate the immune system. That is the difference in between immunogen and the antigen, immunogenicity and the antigenicity. Immunogenicity is the ability to induce humoral or cell-mediated immune responses. That is the immunogenicity, where if you take into consideration B cells, B lymphocytes, whenever they come in contact with the antigen, B cells are exposed to particular antigen, they activated and modified into two kinds of cells. One is the effector B cells and another group is the memory B cells. Memory B cells, they last in the body of the individual for years together. By any chance there is a reoccurrence of the same antigen, then they will take care of the secondary immune responses. That is the role of the memory B cells. Whereas the effector B cells, whenever they get activated by the B cells and the antigen, then formed into effector B cells. These effector B cells, they modified into plasma cells. Plasma cells are the responsible cells for the production of the secretion of the appropriate antibodies against the antigen. That indicates that here the antigen should be considered as the immunogen, where this immunogen interact with the immune system, that is stimulates the immune system and interact with the products of the immune system in the form of antibodies. This is the, and this antigen, this kind of antigens are called as the immunogens. Now If it is instead of B cell, if you observe the activity of the T cell, here the T cells, whenever they interact with the antigen, they modified into effector T cell and memory T cells. Then effector T cells, they turn into cytotoxic T lymphocytes and the T helper cells. Cytotoxic T lymphocytes and the T helper cells. Now, these group of repertoire of T lymphocytes, they secrete cytokines and some of the times they secrete cytotoxic factors. These cytokines and the cytotoxic factors, they are responsible for various immune mechanisms. Now, there is a basic statement which reveals the activity, otherwise the status of the antigens and the immunogens. That is, all the immunogens are antigens. If we take into consideration any immunogen which can stimulate the immune system, which can interact with the products of the immune system, all of them, they are the immunogens. All the immunogens are antigens. But all antigens are not immunogens. That is, those antigens which can interact with the products of the immune system may not stimulate the immune system. So that all the immunogens to be considered as the antigens, but all the antigens, they are never considered as the immunogens at all. This is the discrimination in between the immunogenicity and the antigenicity. So that the antigenicity is defined as it is the ability to combine specifically with the final products of the immune system. That is antigenicity of the antigens. Now, there are 4 basic properties observed by the people apart from the characters of the immune system. So, whenever you take into consideration a substance as the antigen or immunogen, they should possess all these 4 characters. Otherwise, we should not consider this antigen as the effective antigen. The first and foremost feature is the foreignness. That is, any antigen which should be considered as the antigen that should not belong to our own body in general. That is the foreignness. On molecular size, there is a correlation in between size of the foreign molecule, size of the antigen and the degree of the immunogenicity, degree of the immune response. And third one, chemical composition and the heterogeneity of the antigen. The simple compound, simple molecules may not elicit an appropriate response, but the complex molecules with the heterogenic nature, they elicit an appropriate response from the immune system of the individual when they are exposed to the person or individual. And the fourth one, susceptibility to antigen processing and presentation. Those antigens which are granular and large and insoluble, they are easily undergo degradation or processing. So these processed antigens will easily presented to the various T lymphocytes by the antigen presenting cells like the macrophages, dendritic cells. That indicates that an antigen should be easily processed and should be easily presented to the lymphocytes. Then only it should be considered as the effective antigen. So that is, there are 4 characters to be attributed by the antigen to consider to be as the antigen. The first one is the foreignness, molecular size, second one, and third one is the chemical composition heterogeneity, and fourth one is susceptibility of the antigen to undergo processing and as well as the presentation. Let us discuss one by one. First one is the foreignness. Foreignness is the basic fundamental feature of the components of the immune system. Where we discuss the basic concepts of the immune system, our immune system has the capacity to discriminate the difference in between self and non-self material. So the immune system is conscious about the self antigens, about the self components, where it has to identify, that is recognize and remember the foreignness of the substances. Here, see the first one, tolerance of self. As we know, our body contains many number of cells and components. Each and every cell contain some surface markers in the form of self antigens. These self antigens should be tolerated by the immune system, where they identify and interact with the non-self antigens only. That is, whenever the components of the immune system, whenever they come across to the self cells, by observing the self antigens on the self cells, they should tolerate the self. And whenever they come across the non-self, they have to interact with them, they have to respond against to the non-self. That is, keeping quiet to the activity of the self antigens is the self-tolerance. So this is a basic feature of the immune components. And at the same time, whenever you are keeping quiet against to the self antigens, during that time you have to very active against to the non-self antigens. Whenever a particular substance is introduced into a particular individual as the antigen, if it is from the foreign resource, then how it can affect the immunogenicity? That is, there will be a phylogenetic distance. If the antigen and as well as the individual into which we are introducing the antigen, if they are belongs to same species, that is, the phylogenetic relationship is very less or zero. During that time, they never cause any kind of antigenicity. They never induce the immune system. During that time, whenever there is a phylogenetic distance, if you take into consideration a particular protein from a organism which belongs to a particular phylum, if it is introduced into the another organism belongs to another phylum, it brings about effective immunogenicity. It can easily stimulate the immune system of the other individual. That is, whenever the organisms which are belongs to same species may not elicit an appropriate immune response. If the antigen and as well as the individual, both of them, they are belongs to different species, different phyla, then they can elicit an appropriate immune response. That is nothing but whenever there is a more phylogenetic distance, it brings about, it elicits the appropriate immune response. If they are closely related, that may not lead to the elicitation of appropriate immune response. That is, the elicitation of immune response directly depend upon the phylogenetic relationship, phylogenetic distance in between the antigen and as well as the individual. For example, the basic protein molecule which is extensively used in the immunological experiments is the BSA, that is bovine serum albumin. Bovine serum albumin means the albumin protein, serum albumin protein which is extracted from the cattle, that is the bovine serum albumin. If the bovine serum albumin which has been extracted from the cattle, if it is injected into the cow, then there is no appropriate immune response shown by the cow. Why? Because it has been taken from the cattle, so that it never elicits an appropriate response from the cow. If the same BSA, bovine serum albumin, if it is injected into the rabbit instead of cow, then rabbit belongs to one species and the cow belongs to another species of the class Mammalia, then thereby in the rabbit the same BSA which has not been induce or elicit an appropriate immune response in the cow, that can elicit an high degree of immune response in the rabbit. So that indicates that cow and the BSA, they are closely related, whereas the BSA from the cattle and the rabbit, there is a large distance in between the classes. And come to the BSA, another example, if the same BSA may not elicit an high degree of immune response in the goat, but it can elicit high degree of immune response in the chick. That is, the immune response which has been elicited by the BSA in the chick is greater than the immune response elicited in the goat. So there will be a less phylogenetic relationship in between the chick and as well as the BSA. They are closely related. The goat and the BSA, they are closely related with each other, so that they are unable to mount an appropriate immune response against the BSA by the goat. That indicates that whenever there is a close phylogenetic relationship, that may not induce an appropriate immune response. If the distance is large, the degree of immunogenicity is large, is more. So that is the foreignness. That is, foreignness depends upon the phylogenetic disparity in between the organisms. And there are certain exemptions. Although the molecules which are introduced from the one organism to another organism, they may or may not elicit an appropriate immune response. And there are certain exemptions. For example, the collagen protein, fibrous protein and the cytochrome C, they are present throughout the organic evolution and they are present anywhere in the organisms. So that they are present in all the organisms. Thereby, if you inject them into some other organisms, they may not show the high degree of immunogenicity. So that leads to the low immunogenicity because it is present all over the animals. And if you observe, there are certain examples. Corneal tissue and the sperm, they are highly sequestered from the immune system, where if you take into consideration the corneal tissue and the sperm, extract them and inject them into the organism from which they have been obtained, then they elicit high degree of immune response because they are sequestered from the immune system. If you inject them into the same animal also, they elicit an appropriate immune response. Finally, the foreignness, that is, whenever the disparity of the organisms in view of the phylogenetic relationship, if it is more, then we will elicit, otherwise the antigens elicit an appropriate immune response. That is the foreignness of the antigen. The degree of the foreignness is enhanced and there will be a degree of enhancement of the immunogenicity. That is all about the foreignness of the antigen. Then coming to the second one, molecular size. So what is the relation of the molecular size of the antigen and as well as the immunogenicity? That is, the small molecules, the molecule with the small size and the low molecular weight, they may not elicit an appropriate immune response. They may not be immunogenic sometimes. That is, there is a directly proportional relationship in between the weight and the size of the antigenic molecule and the immune response. So there is a size as and when it is enhancing, at the same time there will be a enhanced immune response if the size is low and low immunogenicity. Now here we will observe an antigen should be considered as an antigen. The least molecular weight of a normal antigen should be greater than 1 lakh Daltons. The molecular weight of those antigens which exceeds, which is more than 1 lakh Daltons, then it should be considered as an active immunogen. So the molecules, antigenic molecules with the less than molecular mass, if it is less than 5000 to the 10,000 Daltons, they elicit poor immune response, thereby they are termed as poor immunogens. That is, as when there is a enhancement in the size, mass of the antigenic molecule, that results in the enhancement of the immunogenicity. If the size is very small, if the molecular mass is very low, and they may not act as appropriate and active immunogens. Now, there are certain exemptions. Here it is, although The size is directly proportional relationship to the immune responses. Also there are certain exemptions. For example, some of the molecules were observed, they are with the less than 1000 Daltons. The molecular mass is less than 1000 Daltons. Also they have proven to be as the appropriate immunogens, proven to be as the active immunogens. That indicates that not only the foreignness, not only the molecular size, there are some other things which are actively participating in the elicitation of the appropriate immune response. And thereby we will see some other factors. Come to the third one, that is the chemical composition and the heterogeneity. Chemical composition and the heterogeneity we will see. Already we discussed there is a molecular size. The large molecules are the effective immunogens. Now, the molecules which are homopolymers. Homopolymers are less immunogenic when compared to the heteropolymers. That is, homopolymers are the polymers which are made up of a single kind of unit, single kind of monomers. That leads to the formation of the homopolymers. And heteropolymers, they are made up of many polymers, belongs to many types. Many types of monomers, they fuse together and form a heteropolymer. When compared to the structural complexity in between homopolymer and heteropolymer, heteropolymers are structurally complexed when compared to the homopolymers. As we know, the synthetic homopolymers never to be act as the immunogens. They never initiate, they never elicit an appropriate immune response. Now, come to the second point. There are the different kinds of protein organizations. As we know, there are 4 kinds of structures have been seen in the observed in the protein structures. Primary structures, secondary structures, tertiary structures and the quaternary structures. Out of all these 4, as and when there is a complexity enhancement, degree of complexity is going to be enhanced right from the primary structure to the quaternary structure. In the same way, there will be enhancement of the immune response by applying, by using these kind of primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structures of the proteins. That is, as and when there is a more complexity in the structure, there will be more immunogenicity. Then, coming to the lipids as the heptanes. In general, proteins are highly immunogenic when compared to the lipids. So, most of the times, lipids act as the incomplete antigens like the heptanes. Now, whenever these heptanes are lipid incomplete antigens, if they are fused to the appropriate carrier molecule like the keyhole limpid hemocyne and KLH or the BSA, bovine serum albumin, they become active antigens, complete antigens, and they also induce the immune system and also they elicit immune response against the same lipid heptanes, otherwise the lipid incomplete antigens. The anti-lipid antibodies are extensively used in various clinical diagnostic centers and in order to determine various components in the health significance. Now, there are lipid protein conjugates and also we have derived antibodies against the small molecules like the steroids and as well as the vitamin E. That is, in general, lipid molecules may not be considered as the active immunogens, but we are adding a conjugate protein, carrier protein to the lipids, and we have derived antibodies against to the lipid and the protein carrier conjugate. So, like that, there are antibodies have been prepared against to the amino acid derivatives, steroids and the vitamin E like components. And these anti-lipid antibodies which were derived, they are extensively used in, anti-lipid antibodies are extensively used in the asthma, detection of the leukotrienes. There are many kinds of leukotrienes, but if you detect leukotriene 4, in a particular individual's body, then we will confirm that he is suffering from the asthma. So how it is possible? We have prepared antibodies against the leukotriene 4. Thereby they fuse it with the leukotriene 4. This detection leads to the confirmation of the asthma. And the second example is detection of the prednisone. This prednisone is a important immunosuppressor. During the transplantation, the individuals, the recipient's immune system may not receive in an appropriate way the donor's transplanted graft, otherwise the graft, then thereby what is going to happen? The graft may undergo rejection. During that time, we will inject the prednisone to suppress the immune system of the recipient. So that is, we will detect the prednisone in the individual's body, which is a normal immunosuppressive agent. That is, we are converting the normal lipids as the active antigens by using the appropriate carriers. We have prepared the antibodies. These lipid antibodies, anti-lipid antibodies are used in the clinicals in the detection of the leukotrienes for the asthma and the prednisone in the transplantation techniques. Then the fourth one is the susceptibility of the antigen for the processing and as well as the presentation. In general, whenever the lymphocytes, especially the B lymphocytes, they directly interact with the antigen through their surface molecules, which are called as IgD and IgM kind of antibodies, which acts like the antigen receptors on the surface of the B lymphocyte. Whenever, if you come to the T lymphocytes may not interact with the antigen directly, but however they interact with the antigen indirectly, where the antigen comes in contact with the antigen presenting cell, in which the antigen phagocytized and undergo processing, and the processed fragments in the form of the peptides, otherwise the heptines, they will be presented to the T lymphocyte through the MHC molecules. That is, the antigen interacts with the antigen presenting cell, and this antigen undergo processing, and that should be presented to the T lymphocytes, to the T helper cells or cytotoxic T lymphocytes. Now, prior to that, the antigen should undergo processing and presentation. That is, a particular antigen should be modified as the effective antigen prior to the presentation of the antigen towards the T lymphocytes. That is nothing but the processing. The entire antigen undergo fragmentation, and the effective antigenic determinants in the form of the peptides, they are attached to the MHC molecules. These MHC molecules, they move towards the periphery of the cell, they penetrate through the cell membrane and expose this antigen to the T lymphocytes. That is, how these antigens, whether all the antigens are undergoing processing in an appropriate way, so there are certain limitations. Those antigens which are large in size, which are macromolecules and which are not at all soluble in the water, insoluble large molecules, macromolecules, they are more immunogenic. Why? Because if the size of the antigen is more, they easily undergo fragmentation and processing. If they are soluble, for example, if the antigens are soluble, then they may not be easily undergo antigen processing. So that they are poor immunogens and which are non-degradable. The antigen should be large and easily undergo degradation and easily presented to the T lymphocytes. If the molecule is large but is not at all undergoing the degradation, molecular degradation not at all taking place, during that time they are not at all working as the active immunogens, they are poor immunogens. And another example is In general, the polymers of the L amino acids are highly degradable than the polymers of the D amino acids. Polymers of the L amino acids, they easily undergo degradation. Whenever you impose both of these L amino acids and D amino acids, L amino acids are easily undergoing the degradation, and easily they will be presented to the components of the immune system. Thereby the L amino acids are considered to be as the effective antigens when compared to the polymers of the D amino acids. That indicates that the antigen should be in a position that it should be foreign in nature, and it has the more molecular size and mass, and they should have the more complex structure, and they should easily undergo the processing and presented to the lymphocytes, otherwise the molecular components. And there are also some other biological system contributes to the immunogenicity. So apart from all these four characters, some other times the individual's biological system also contribute to enhance the immunogenicity. Apart from that, the main one is the host genetic makeup. That is, elicitation of immune response not only depend upon the capacity of the activity of the antigen, but also it depends upon the genetic makeup of the individual. So that is, in order to elicit an immune response, different kinds of individuals, they respond in a different way. That is solely depend upon the that is the genetic makeup of the individuals. Now, second one is the immunogen dosage. Immunogen dosage is whenever we have constructed a particular dose for the injecting into the individual, and how you can administer the dosage. If you administer more dose, then there will be a elicitation of more response. If the dose is less, the immune response is also less. And also we consider the route of administration, whether it is a oral administration through the mouth, if it is an intramuscular injection through the muscles, if it is a subcutaneous injection, otherwise it is a intravenous injection. Thereby, based upon the route of administration, the macrophages, dendritic cells which are present in different secondary lymphoid organs, they entrap and contact the antigen or immunogen easily, and thereby they elicit an appropriate immune response. So that is, along with the host genetic makeup, we will take into consideration the immunogen dosage, amount of the dose of the immunogen, and also the route of administration. And adjuvants are the factors which also enhance, which helps the enhancement of the immunogenicity. That indicates that at the end of this topic, we will revise once. There are attributes of the antigens or immunogens. We have discussed the definitions of what is immunogenicity and immunogen, and what is antigenicity, and what is the difference in between these two, and what are the basic features like the foreignness of the antigen, molecular size of the antigen, and the chemical complexity of the heterogeneity of the antigen, and the susceptible nature of the antigen in the processing and presentation. All of these, they contribute to the enhancement of the elicitation of the high immune response when compared to the normal antigens. Not only that, but also there are the biological system that contributes to the immunogenicity in the form of host genetic makeup, and as well as the dosage compensation, dose of the antigen to be administered into the individual to elicit an appropriate immune response, and also the route of administration. All these, the attributes of the antigens and as well as the attributes of the biological system, they enhance, they elicit, they help in the elicitation of the appropriate immune response. This is all about the basic characters of the antigens. Thank you.